To discuss these changes in more detail is BILD President and CEO Bryan Tuckey. So Bryan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
So first, let's talk about what are the current building regulations around wood construction versus the new codes.
The existing wood construction can be built to a maximum of 4 stories in the province of Ontario today. And what we talked about earlier in the week at our press conference was to ask the provincial government to begin to look at constructing wood frame structures to a maximum of 6 stories. We feel it's a great opportunity to unlock the vast potential of the corridors in the Greater Toronto Area, as well as a real benefit to many of our smaller communities around the province.
All right, now let's talk about this. What advantage is that? So for our listeners out there, what does this mean for them?
I think what it means for them is I'd like to do 3 things. The first is we believe it'll be much more affordable, the housing that we're constructing using wood frame. What you see in Toronto now is a lot of townhome development, up to some of a maximum of 4 stories, and then you see very high-rise towers. And we hope that this will be able to fill that gap in between in an affordable lifestyle for those that are interested. The second thing that we're looking to is more of housing for families and seniors. And in fact, at our press conference earlier in the week, the housing development we're in front of was a seniors residence being built by the Toronto Community Association. And it really does speak to the opportunity to build family housing that's affordable. And I think the third that is important to the people that are listening relates to just the vision of the Greater Toronto Area and the fact that in and around 100,000 people are going to come to this region each and every year, and we need to provide housing choice for those that choose this wonderful region as their home.
Now, why make the change to the Ontario Building Code?
They did the change in British Columbia in 2009, and there were some very immediate results that we think would help the economic base for the province of Ontario. In British Columbia, 3 years out, there's been about 130 such structures built. They're built of the highest quality. They're being lived in now. It will create a number of jobs in an industry that's always looking for ways to employ people. This industry does employ in around 202,000 people in the Greater Toronto Area. So wood frame construction is just an opportunity for our smaller builders and those that are now in the framing business to expand their horizons.
So it seems to me there's a precedent has already been set. It's not really a dramatic thing that we're proposing.
2 stories, Simon.
Yeah, two additional stories, so it's not a safety issue. What's holding them back from doing this?
I think there's 2 things. First, what we've asked the province to do is the National Building Code is being reviewed as we speak, and they're beginning their consultations around this and other issues in the summer months, is just to have the province enter into a conversation with the stakeholders to ensure that all of the issues, as you point out, Simon, are addressed. I know the firefighters, we've talked to them, they have issues around occupancy and firefighter safety, and that type of consultation will begin to answer those questions so that we can have a Made in Ontario solution. So when the first houses that are constructed are of the highest quality, are safe, affordable, and ones that people will enjoy living in.
I didn't consider the fact that you have to consult with the firefighters, and you got to look at individual municipal concerns. I was really focusing on the cost side, but I guess there's a lot of work into it with all of this.
Yeah, it's a different form of construction. As Leith Moore said on Wednesday, it's not townhouses on steroids. It's a different form. So in working with the City of Toronto, who also were very pleased to have the Chief Building Official, Anne Barra, and Chief Planner, Jennifer Keesmaat, at the press conference, we have to build a capacity in Ontario to reinvent ourselves around how to build 6-story wood. So you have to have building officials that understand, you have to have engineers that understand, you have to have architects that understand how to build these buildings because they are different. And this 1-year consultation, this work with the provincial government, ensure that when we are finished, we have a solution that really works well in Ontario because it is a different form of housing.
Yeah, we've talked about all of the different regulatory issues and requirements, but I think, in keeping with our discussion in past episodes on the cost that homeowners don't understand. So many components of the cost are built in. And if there's a cost savings here, we're talking, $25,000 on 1,000 square feet. That's a dramatic savings and could really impact it. I have to assume the biggest target market for this type of construction is going to be first-time buyers, young families, especially if we're looking at this type of construction as for areas where we're going to see a little bit more intensification near public transit. I agree. I think it really does fill that gap.
You're really that's really a great observation, Simon. We are looking for, as we talked about earlier, first-time homeowners. We hope it'll be a 15 to 20% cost savings. And the other thing that happens with these structures are, first is many in the European market are built modularly. So they really are brought to the site in pieces and assembled. And that's the second part of the thought. In Copenhagen, we were there a couple of months ago, these buildings were getting to be constructed very quickly because they knew how to do it, and each floor went up in a week. So the impact in the community, surrounding community, is minimal as compared to other forms of construction.
So it's a real game changer. I mean, at the end of the day, modular is something that we're kind of behind, I believe, in those compared to the European countries. But certainly, I want to focus on the little guy, and I don't mean little guy, but that builder that ultimately, does those custom builds, but would like to have the opportunity to get into these, I guess, as you had referred to, retirement homes. They now have an opportunity, and framers, we know that there's a seasonality component to that to keep them busy. So there's going to be an incredible increase in job opportunities, but it's also going to change the mix in terms of who can bid for certain jobs. Is that correct?
You're exactly right. We are in a sales stress in the city of Toronto. We're not selling units and large buildings as quickly. It opens up a whole new market for our mid-sized builders to find places along the corridor that are appropriate for this type of development and build buildings that are 25, 60 houses, and really gives them an opportunity to expand their business place in the market as well.
Now, along with all the benefits such as increased availability of affordable housing, increased tax base for municipalities, what about minimized carbon footprint in terms of building construction?
Yes, we understand that the wood is a recyclable, renewable resource. It's an Ontario resource. And all the evidence we show is that the footprint from a carbon standpoint is reduced using wood products. It's just good for the economy. It's good for the province. And the building we saw Wednesday was a perfect example of how everyone can find a win-win solution in this wood frame construction. Underground parking in first 2 floors, I believe, were concrete, and the top 3 were wood frame. And it was just a natural to put another 2 floors on top of that. And I think there's lots of opportunity for all people and suppliers in this great construction industry to benefit from wood frame.
Now, one last question, because our listeners hear Simon and I talk about all that BILD does. So maybe can you explain what BILD does in terms of for the public, especially regarding this initiative?
BILD finds itself in a position to be the voice of the land development, home building, and professional renovation industry in the Greater Toronto Area, but we also really try to be an advocate for new homeowners. New homeowners are just that. They're not taxpayers as of yet, and we really believe that much of what we do relates to great city building great communities, and the continual stress on finding solutions to the affordability issues within the city of Toronto. We continually look for options and solutions, this just being one of them.
And what can I add, protecting the public's interest at large?
Always protect. I'm a planner by trade, and by ethics, I must look to the larger public interest in any decision that I make. So you're absolutely right.
Well, we here at the Real Estate Talk Show love what you do, and thank you again for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Definitely have you back again, Bryan.
Thank you.